Everything Tommy built is about to be tested, and this time he may not be able to fix the problems with a simple phone call or a clever deal. After 2 seasons of surviving impossible situations, Tommy Norris is finally stepping into a new world where he is no longer protecting someone else's empire. He is building his own. But with new power comes new enemies, new risks, and secrets that could destroy everything before it even begins. Landman. Season 3 is shaping up to be the biggest turning point yet, and the choices Tommy makes now could change the future of everyone around him. The question everyone is asking is simple. Can Tommy create something powerful enough to survive the brutal world of oil, business, and betrayal? Or will the same forces that tried to break him before finally bring him down? The biggest change coming into Landman Season 3 is that Tommy Norris is no longer just the man standing in the middle of someone else's war. For 2 seasons, Tommy was constantly fighting fires. He was solving problems, cleaning up disasters, and trying to keep powerful people satisfied while dealing with enemies from every direction. Every decision came with consequences, and every victory felt temporary. But now, everything has changed. After everything Tommy went through, he has finally reached a point where he can build something that belongs to him. The idea of creating his own company completely changes the direction of the story because Tommy is no longer just trying to survive. He is trying to become a leader, and that is where things become dangerous. Building an oil company is not just about finding resources and making money. It is about controlling relationships, making risky choices, and knowing when to trust people. Tommy understands the industry better than almost anyone, but even experience cannot protect him from every threat waiting ahead. The biggest challenge for Tommy will not only come from his competitors, it will come from the people closest to him. One of the most interesting parts of this new chapter is Tommy's relationship with his son, Cooper. For a long time, Cooper was seen as someone who was still learning. He was trying to prove himself in an industry where respect is not given easily. He made mistakes, faced dangerous situations, and had to deal with people who believed he was not ready for the pressure. But Season 3 could finally be the moment where Cooper steps out of Tommy's shadow. By giving Cooper a major leadership position, Tommy is taking a huge risk. On one hand, it shows that Tommy believes in his son's ability. He sees something in Cooper that others might not see. He knows that Cooper has learned from every mistake and every difficult moment. But on the other hand, putting family and business together is never simple. A company can survive many things, but disagreements between a father and son can create problems that money cannot solve. Tommy and Cooper may have the same goal, but they may not always agree on how to reach it. This could become one of the biggest conflicts of the season. Tommy has always been someone who believes in experience and strategy. He understands that sometimes you have to make difficult choices to survive. Cooper, however, represents a younger generation. He may have different ideas about how the company should operate and how people should be treated. At first, their differences could actually make the company stronger. Tommy brings years of knowledge, while Cooper brings fresh energy and a different perspective. Together, they could create something powerful. But success often creates pressure. The more successful their company becomes, the more people will try to take it away from them. Competitors will start watching their moves. Former allies may become enemies. People who ignored Tommy before may suddenly want a piece of what he is building. And Tommy knows this better than anyone. He has spent years working around powerful people who smile in public but make dangerous moves behind closed doors. He understands that in the oil business, trust can disappear the moment money is involved. This is why Season 3 could show a completely different side of Tommy Norris. Before, Tommy was always reacting to problems. Now he has to become the person creating the future. That means making decisions that will affect everyone around him. One wrong move could damage his company before it even has a chance to grow. Another major question heading into the new season is what happens with the people from Tommy's past. When someone rises, the people they left behind do not always disappear. Old conflicts have a way of returning, and Tommy has created plenty of enemies during his journey. The biggest threat may not come from someone holding a weapon or making obvious attacks. It could come from someone using money, power, and influence to slowly destroy everything Tommy is building. This is what makes Tommy's new journey so exciting. He has finally gained control, but control comes with a price, and the old Tommy was fighting to protect himself and the people around him. The new Tommy has to fight to protect an entire future. And that raises the biggest question of all. Is Tommy Norris ready to become the man everyone expects him to be? Because in Season 3, winning one battle will not be enough. Tommy needs to build something that can survive the war. And the moment he starts creating his own empire, everyone watching from the outside will be waiting for the first sign of weakness. The future of Tommy Norris, Cooper, and everyone connected to them is about to enter its most dangerous chapter yet. One of the most important parts of Landman Season 3 will be watching Cooper Norris step into a role that could completely change his life. For a long time, Cooper has been the person trying to prove that he belongs. He has always been surrounded by people who questioned him, people who believed he was too young, too inexperienced, or not prepared for the brutal world he was entering. But Cooper has already survived more than most people could handle. He has faced danger, loss, and situations that forced him to grow up faster than expected. Every mistake taught him something. Every difficult moment shaped him. And now, for the first time, he is not just trying to earn respect. He has been given real responsibility. That responsibility could become the biggest opportunity of his life, or the thing that destroys him. Taking control of a company sounds exciting, but the reality is much more complicated. Cooper will quickly learn that being a leader is not only about making good decisions when everything is going well. The true test comes when things start falling apart. And knowing Tommy's world, problems are coming. Cooper will have to deal with investors, business decisions, unexpected challenges, and people who may not believe he deserves his position. Some will see him as Tommy's son first and a businessman second. They may think he only received this opportunity because of his family name. But Cooper's journey has always been about proving people wrong. The interesting thing about Cooper is that he is not trying to become another version of Tommy. He has his own personality, his own beliefs, and his own way of seeing the world. While Tommy understands the old rules of the oil industry, Cooper may want to create something different. This difference between father and son could become one of the strongest storylines in Season 3. Tommy built his career by being tough, strategic, and willing to make difficult choices. He knows that sometimes survival requires sacrifices, but Cooper may not always agree with those methods. At some point, Cooper may have to decide whether he wants to follow Tommy's path or create his own. And that decision could change their relationship forever. The father-son relationship has always been one of the emotional foundations of the story. Tommy wants to protect Cooper, but he also wants him to become strong enough to survive without protection. That creates a complicated situation because Tommy's biggest challenge may be letting go. For years, Tommy has been the person who solves problems. He is the person everyone calls when something goes wrong. But now, Cooper has to become someone who can handle those problems himself. Tommy cannot always step in. If he does, Cooper may never truly become the leader he needs to be. This could create moments where Tommy watches his son struggle, but has to allow him to learn through experience. For someone like Tommy, that may be harder than any business challenge. Because deep down, Tommy is not just protecting a company, he is protecting his family. But the oil business does not care about family. That is what makes Cooper's new position so dangerous. The people around him will not treat him differently because he is Tommy's son. They will look for weaknesses. They will test his confidence. They will try to find out whether he is truly capable of leading. And Cooper will have to prove that he is more than just an opportunity given by his father. Another major question is how Cooper handles success. Failure can teach someone important lessons, but success can also create new problems. When people start respecting him, when money starts coming in, and when his decisions begin affecting others, Cooper will discover that power changes everything. A person can lose themselves while trying to become powerful. This is something Tommy understands very well. Tommy has spent years watching people become controlled by greed, pride, and ambition. He knows that the oil world can turn good people into dangerous ones. The question is whether Cooper can gain power without losing the values that made him different. His relationship with Ariana will also become an important part of this journey. After everything they have experienced together, Cooper and Ariana have built something stronger than just a relationship. They have become partners who understand each other's struggles. They have supported each other through moments when everything seemed impossible. Season 3 could push their relationship into a new stage. But happiness in a drama series is never guaranteed. When characters finally get close to achieving their dreams, that is often when the biggest challenges appear. Cooper may find himself having to choose between protecting the company and protecting the people he loves. And those choices will reveal who he truly is. The pressure on Cooper will not only come from outside enemies, it will also come from his own expectations. He knows that people are watching him. He knows that many are waiting for him to fail. That pressure can either break someone or make them stronger. The question is, which one will happen to Cooper Norris? Will he become the leader Tommy believes he can be, or will the weight of responsibility become too much? Because in Season 3, Cooper is not just taking a job. He is stepping into a world where every decision has consequences. And while Tommy may have built the foundation, Cooper's choices could decide whether their dream survives or collapses. But Cooper is not the only person facing a major change. While Tommy and Cooper are building their future, another powerful figure is standing at a crossroads. And her next move could completely change everything. Because when someone loses control, they usually do one of two things. They walk away, or they fight back. While Tommy Norris and Cooper are focused on building something new, there is another person who could completely change the direction of the story. Cammie's position going into Landman's Season 3 is one of the biggest mysteries because she is standing at a point where one decision could affect everyone. For a long time, Cammie was connected to an empire that was built long before Tommy started creating his own path. She believed in protecting what was already created. She wanted to keep the company alive and protect the legacy that was left behind. But the problem with protecting someone else's dream is that sometimes you have to ask yourself if that dream is still worth saving. And that is exactly where Cammie finds herself. After everything that happened, Cammie is no longer in the same powerful position she once had. The people around her have changed. The business world around her has changed. And most importantly, Tommy is no longer working under her control. That changes the entire balance of power. For years, Tommy was the person who handled impossible situations. He was the fixer, the negotiator, and the person who could walk into chaos and somehow find a way out. But now Tommy has moved on. He is creating his own company. And for Cammie, that could feel like losing the one person who could keep everything together. This creates an interesting question for Season 3. What will Cammie do when she realizes Tommy is no longer fighting for her vision? Will she accept that things have changed? Or will she try to take back control? Cammie is not someone who easily gives up. She is intelligent, determined, and understands how power works. She knows that businesses are not just built with money. They are built with relationships, loyalty, and influence. But influence can disappear quickly. The biggest danger for Cammie is that she may underestimate how much Tommy has changed. The man who worked for others is becoming the man who creates his own future. He is no longer waiting for someone else to give him direction. That could create a major conflict between them. On one side, Tommy wants freedom. He wants to build something where he controls the decisions and the future. On the other side, Cammie may believe that Tommy is making a mistake by leaving behind something that already exists. Both of them may believe they are doing the right thing, and that is what makes their conflict interesting. The strongest rivalries are not always between people who hate each other. Sometimes they come from people who understand each other but want completely different things. Cammie knows Tommy's strengths better than almost anyone. She knows how valuable he is. She knows that without him, many problems become harder to solve. That creates the possibility that Cammie may eventually need Tommy again, but asking Tommy for help could be difficult because the balance between them has changed. Before, Tommy needed the company. Now, the company may need Tommy. That shift in power could create some intense moments. Cammie could approach Tommy and ask for support, hoping they can find a way to work together again. But there is also another possibility. What if Cammie decides that if she cannot control Tommy's future, she will try to stop it? That would create one of the most dangerous situations of the season. A person with knowledge, resources, and a personal connection to Tommy can sometimes be more dangerous than an obvious enemy. Cammie knows how Tommy thinks. She knows his weaknesses. She knows the decisions he struggles with. If she chooses to become an opponent, she could create problems that Tommy never sees coming. But the real question is whether Cammie is willing to go that far. Deep down, does she want revenge? Or does she simply want to protect what she believes in? This is what makes her character complicated. She is not just a villain waiting to destroy everything. She has her own reasons, her own fears, and her own goals. She is someone who has lost control of a situation that she once understood, and losing control is dangerous for powerful people. Meanwhile, Tommy's new company will also attract attention from people who do not want to see him succeed. The oil industry is filled with competition. Every new company represents a threat to someone else. Tommy may think his biggest challenge is building the business, but the real challenge may be surviving the people who want him to fail. There will always be someone who wants what Tommy has. Money, influence, power. The people who once ignored Tommy may now see him as a serious competitor. The same people who underestimated him could start looking for ways to weaken him before he becomes too powerful. This is where the season could introduce new enemies. Unlike previous threats, these enemies may not attack Tommy directly. They may use legal problems, business pressure, and behind-the-scenes strategies to hurt him. And that could be harder for Tommy to fight. Tommy is good at handling people face-to-face. He understands negotiations, he understands pressure, but fighting someone who operates in the shadows is a completely different challenge. This could force Tommy to change the way he thinks. The old Tommy survived by reacting quickly. The new Tommy will need to think ahead, because when you build an empire, people do not wait for you to become powerful before challenging you. They try to stop you before you reach the top. And with Cooper learning leadership, Cammy searching for her next move, and powerful enemies watching from the outside, Tommy's dream is surrounded by uncertainty. The biggest question remains: can Tommy build his future without destroying the relationships that helped him get there? Because in the world of Landman, success never comes without a cost. And Season 3 may prove that the hardest battles are not always fought in the oil fields. Sometimes they are fought between the people closest to you. Tommy Norris has always been a man who knows how to survive. No matter how complicated the situation becomes, he finds a way to keep moving forward. He has faced powerful people, dangerous situations, and impossible decisions. But Landman Season 3 could introduce the one challenge Tommy has never truly faced before: building something that belongs completely to him. When Tommy worked for others, he understood the rules. He knew who had the power, who made the final decisions, and who he needed to convince. But now the situation is different. Every choice he makes will represent his own vision. There will be nobody else to blame. If the company succeeds, it will be because of Tommy. If it fails, everyone will look at him. That pressure could change Tommy in ways we have never seen before. The man who always had an answer may suddenly find himself questioning every decision. Because running a company is not just about knowing the business, it is about knowing people. And people are unpredictable. The biggest threat to Tommy's new company may come from the powerful figures who see him as a growing problem. The moment Tommy starts creating his own empire, he becomes a target. In the oil world, success creates enemies. Every deal Tommy makes could affect someone else. Every piece of land he gains could belong to someone who wanted it. Every connection he builds could make another person feel threatened. Tommy knows this world is competitive, but he may not realize how many people are waiting for him to make one mistake. That is what makes Season 3 so interesting. Tommy is not fighting to survive anymore. He is fighting to protect what he has built. And that is a completely different kind of battle. One of the most dangerous things about Tommy is that he has always been willing to take risks. That quality helped him survive, but it could also become his weakness. When someone has spent years solving problems through experience and instinct, they sometimes believe they can handle anything. But a company cannot be protected by one person alone. They may attack his family. That possibility makes every victory feel dangerous.